Hello and welcome. It's Atomic Radio Hour. We're back to the regular schmegular scheduled programming that you know and might love. I'm your host. I'm Vince. Welcome to the show. How are you? Gooman Entertainment, Patreon, link in the description below. Check out all the links down below as well. Welcome. It's time for episode 363. Still no Fallout 3 or New Vegas Remaster. I mean, we kind of knew that. If you were paying attention, you knew we weren't going to be getting a remake or remaster. It was just leading to the virtual walk around of the Lucky 38. My guess, October 23, 2026 is when we're going to get a Fallout 3 remaster, and then next year, hopefully, a New Vegas one. And I really hope we wind up getting fixes. I really hope we wind up getting, like, the Strip is all one, the Battle of Hoover Dam is as big as it's supposed to be, stuff like that. Stuff that was cut out of the game, stuff that was taken out of the game. I really hope we get to see stuff like that. So how are we feeling about the series now that the show's over? If you watch the last few episodes, if you watch Vault Boys, I talk a little bit about how there's so much new life that's been breathed into the Fallout series now. There's new fans, there's new theories, there's people who are playing the games for the first time. How are you guys feeling about it? Do you feel like it's a bunch of new tourists? Do you feel like it's a bunch of new people who genuinely care? How much of the predictions that you made about the show came true? I'd very much like to know. Today, February 11th, 2026, Obsidian uploaded their video of the Fallout Fan Festival in Nevada, and it was only like 2 minutes long. They just showed a little bit about the panel, the New Vegas reunion panel, and I was really hoping that there was going to be more, but it just seems like that was just about it. I will admit I did look for myself. I didn't see myself, but still I thought I should take a look. My biggest fear with the show ending now, and now that we're in this new period of downtime, is that we're just going to continue to get the show for the next few years, and then all of a sudden, the show is going to end. They said that they have 6 seasons worth of stuff, which I highly doubt, to be completely honest with you. I don't see how they could have 6 seasons worth of something. Who knows? But here we are. Let's say they actually have these 6 seasons, and it takes, another 4 years to get these 6 seasons, or another 5 years to get these 6 seasons. At what point in time does the next Elder Scrolls release? Are we going to sit here and be in another drought of just lack of content? Because I can't imagine we're going to be getting anything anytime soon, even when the show is over. And that's kind of what my fear is wholeheartedly with where the series is going. We're going to have all this stuff, and then we're not going to have a game, and then out of nowhere, we're just going to be given a game. And then that's it. And it's going to be like, it's probably another 10 years before a Fallout game. And I feel like I'm talking about this all the time. I really want to talk about this week's lore because this week's lore has to deal so heavily with the show, and especially the way the show ends and where I think the series is going to go. And it's something personal to me. So I really, really, really want to talk about it. Before I get into the lore, though, I want to give a quick shout out to the Patreon. Link in the description of the Patreon below. If you like the show, consider checking it out. Bunch of tiers, bunch of different things down there. The names on screen are the people who support. Some quick names that I have to thank quick. I'd like to thank the OG Noah. Thank you, Noah. After Noah, I have to thank Mellow Milhouse. Thank you to Mellow Milhouse. After Mellow Milhouse, I have to thank Danish Hound Dog. Thank you to Danish Hound Dog. And last but certainly not least, I have to thank Willy DuWitt. Thank you to Willy DuWitt. If you like the show, like I said, check it out. There's a link in the description below. If you'd like to hear any lore from the Fallout series, and I mean any lore whatsoever, check out the Patreon. Usually, if you're part of the Patreon, you get to choose the week's lore. But because we're coming back from the show, I wanted to do something special, something near and dear to my heart, something I'm kind of a part of. I wanted to give you the lore from the Fallout series on Colorado. Hey, we're going to be talking about Colorado, and because we're going to be talking about Colorado, I need to give you a spoiler warning. This is your chance. You can skip this. I'm going to be talking about Fallout Season 2. So if you don't want to have anything spoiled from Fallout Season 2, now is your time to opt out. I've given you your chances. Now, Colorado is one of the 50 states of the United States of America. It's the centennial state. It's the 38th state of the 50 states of the United States of America, and it became a state on August 1st, 1876, 100 years after the founding of the United States of America. At one point in time, it was part of the Kingdom of Spain. The capital of Colorado is Denver, and actually, the Hoover Dam was designed in Denver. Now, for game lore, actual Fallout lore, sometime in the late 21st century, Denver became a testing ground for cybernetic dogs. It's the dog that you get to see that is Rex. These dogs that had these implements, they're cyber dogs. They're cyborg dogs. They were meant to be bigger, better, harder, faster, stronger. Rex the dog is over 200 years old, and he's a police dog. The police were testing out these cyber hounds to see how they would work with law enforcement. These were government experiments. Ultimately, much like the rest of the Fallout world, these were experiments done by the US government. They were tests to see how it would implement into society. The Enclave worked on them. Doc Henry in Jacobstown in New Vegas can work on Rex. He has the sophistication to be able to work on such a project. Even in Big Mountain, the great minds of the Big MT, they had devised a gun out of the cyber dogs. It's the K9000. It uses the dog's brain as a processor, and it could sniff out and lock on to targets. The remnants of these dogs being in Denver and being such a central force there, especially after the bombs drop, is something I'm going to talk about a little bit deeper into this lore. But recently, like today, I found out about it. Fallout on Prime did a thing on their YouTube that's the Galaxy News special, and it's like an hour-long presentation. I had no idea this had come out, ever. This thing's like 2 years old, and I had no idea it'd come out. And it kind of alludes to something, and I have a feeling we're gonna see it. Especially in the lore of Fallout, it says that the president goes into hiding, and one of the last presidents of the United States of America, we don't know who it is. All we know about them is that they go into hiding. And in season 1, episode 1 of Fallout, the radio at the little kid's birthday party, they talk about how no one has seen the president. It's not known where. It's guessed that it's one of the Enclave bases or an oil rig. But this is how forward-thinking I think the show is currently. During this Fallout on Prime Galaxy News special, there's a quote here. I'm going to quote it verbatim. It's about 11 minutes in, maybe 12, to an hour-long presentation.
Now, Vault-Tec Vault living is living the dream. And it's the only way to safety, unless you are the president of the United States or something like that, and you have a mountain in Colorado to go under and direct the events of the world. Not many of us are that. There's only one of those. And his various and sundry advisors, I'm sure they'll be fine, but you won't. You won't be fine. If a vault is out of your price range, there are lower cost alternatives to purchasing a spot with Vault-Tec. They don't sound good, if you ask me. Anti-radiation pills. Good luck with that.
So maybe this was a coinkydink. Maybe this is just they were writing things and they needed to fill an hour's worth of time and this is what they came up with. Or maybe this is an idea that they wanted to plant inside of us from the beginning. I had no idea this existed to today, and I've been saying since season 1 we were going to Colorado. Now that presentation, if I remember correctly, is broadcast from the completion of Vault 33. So in 2077, it's sometime before 2077. In 2077, the bombs drop. By 2103, Paladin Leela Romani led the Brotherhood's first expedition force from Lost Hills in California to West Virginia, and during that, they cross over the Rockies. Not much is said about it other than they have to cross over the Rocky Mountains, which is Colorado. To get it's more than just Colorado, but it's the Rockies. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. The Rockies goes from Mexico to Canada, almost into Alaska. It's very, very big. Now, post-war, people did what they do, and they search for community, they search for safety, and tribes formed in the ruins of the former city of Denver. The biggest one of these was the Hang Dogs. They're one of the only tribes to really be hanging out on the outskirts and within Denver proper. Sometime between 2248 and 2274, the Hang Dogs had built a society based around dogs. Because of how many dogs were in Denver, because of the police program, be it the cyber dogs, they would go out and breed and they would have puppies. And the puppies obviously didn't pass down the cybernetic genetics, but they pass down the enhancements. Now, not 1-to-1. Like a dog can't jump 35 feet in the air because its father or mother had cybernetic enhancements. No, but it was better, and it was feral, and it was mangy, and it was a mongrel. And it's because these dogs that ran the streets of Denver, people built a community around them. And the hang dogs especially had a very deep connection, almost spiritual connection. They saw them as their spirit animals, their spirit guides. They had these connections with these dogs. They bred them. They lived with them. They were part of their community. And this, interestingly enough, this is how the myth of Lanius, be he real or be he legend, this is kind of where it comes from. If you speak to Lanius, he talks about it directly. The courier can say, "Who is Legate Lanius?" And Ulysses will say, quote, "Lanius, the butcher, monster, terror of the East. Not even his slaves have seen his face. Struck them blind so they can't. Wears a mask. Don't even know if he's the same man. He put Colorado to the sword. Broke the hangdogs by throwing their hounds upon the flames, so they might burn forever in the afterlife." This is the moment. The Battle of Denver, Caesar taking this other tribe, is such a treacherous moment. It's actually alluded to that they could have lost, and they kind of revel in the idea that they could have lost. Even if you speak to Antony, who's the Houndsmaster in Fallout New Vegas for Caesar's Legion, he, now being a part of the Legion, kind of revels in it a little bit, talks about how his tribe was one of the tribes that almost struck down Caesar, the great and mighty Caesar, but his tribe impressed Caesar so much that they got to become a part of the Legion. And that's a thing that I think is so interesting about it, is that the Legion, basing it off Roman society, the Romans, their big thing was, we're not just going to kill you, we're going to kill your culture. So now you're a part of us. But the good stuff gets to stay. The Houndsmaster, Antony, is because of his time in Denver. He got to his position because of what he was good at. Aurelius of Phoenix is one of the few members of the Legion who actually gets to keep part of who they are from where they are from. And it's so funny to me that it's like, you forget everything you know, except for this one thing. Take that with you. But now you're just doing it in this font. Like I said, the Hound Dogs had the upper hand. They were the only tribe. They understood the city. They understood the surrounding area around Denver. Caesar would throw men at a problem. If he wanted something, he would take it, and he would throw as many bodies at the wall that he could until the wall broke. The problem with the hangdogs is that they're the only tribe really around. That's really it. It's really just them. And Caesar couldn't go to other tribes and go, "You're part of us now, stop." Like, he couldn't step on them, decimate them, if you will, take their men, and then go, "Now go throw yourselves at the hangdogs. Go do this." The lines of battle, the supply lines, are what almost take down Caesar's legion. Legate Lanius even alludes to this a little bit. Quote, "Long ago, when taking Denver, I had to face such a challenge. Many died over many years to claim the city as ours. It was the lines of food and water that nearly broke the legion's strength, and the lack of tribals near that cursed city." And like I said before, the hangdogs had a spiritual connection to the dogs of Denver. I've heard it referred to as Dogtown. I don't know how canonically accurate that is. That's a thing I've heard. It's a thing I've referred to it as. But again, I'm not quite sure. But the connection they had, the elders of the tribe couldn't stand the idea that the dogs would be burning in their afterlife for eternity. And when Lanius had come up with the idea to burn them, they halted. Again, if you ask Antony how he became part of the Legion, how he joined the Legion, he'll say, quote, "When the Legion showed up, we fought. Most tribes died. Hangdogs hung out longer than most. Broke us up by throwing our dogs on the fire. So we gave up. Elders couldn't bear the idea of our spirit animals burning in the afterlife. Still, Caesar was impressed enough to conscript us. Use our skill with dogs to join the Legion as Houndsmasters." I like the idea of, this is a problem, we're going to take it on into our own. It's also very much kind of how they portray Mr. House in season 2. Very much this is a problem, I'm going to purchase it. Now it is a part of the House brand of things. Be it H&H Tools, which is more of a thing that you would know about game. They reference it in the show for like a second, but you know, the reason why he's giving up cold fusion or getting cold fusion and he's trading off one thing for another very much went, I see this as a problem. Now it's mine, and now I use its skills to my advantage. By the year of 2281, when Caesar has conquered his tribes and is making his approach towards the second battle of Hoover Dam, most of Colorado and the land east of the Colorado River, the river that runs from northern Colorado into Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and Mexico, river that the Hoover Dam is built onto, all of that land is owned by Caesar. All of that is land that he controls. And by 2296, when Fallout on Prime Season 2 takes place, the only thing we really know about it is that when Cooper Howard, the ghoul, finds the cryopod that his wife and daughter are supposed to be in, there's a postcard saying that his wife went to Colorado. We see a shot of the Rockies. What I've seen, what I've heard, is that is the Rockies. It's not the part of the Rockies I think they're going to. I think they're heading towards Cheyenne Mountain because of the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD. I can see NORAD from my apartment. That's the part of Colorado I live in. It makes the most sense to me that they would be going there. They also track Santa Claus there. Very fun. It's not that part of the Rockies. From what I've been seeing, it seems like it's on the other side of Utah, like it's in Colorado, but it's not where I think the show is ultimately going to head to. Colorado shows up in New Vegas. It's mentioned in Lonesome Road. It's now in the show. The Fallout, a special live report from Galaxy News. It's in Fallout Tactics, and I didn't really talk about Fallout Tactics all that much, but in Tactics, Cheyenne Mountain, where NORAD is where Vault Zero is, and the calculator who kind of controls that whole vault. This is where I think it's going to go. This is where I have a feeling this is where I have a feeling the show is going to go, because it's from Fallout Tactics, a game that not many Fallout fans or even just casual fans have played or heard of. And it's one of those that I feel like there's enough information. Like, I'm going to read you, I get all of my lore from Fallout.fandom.com, the Wikipedia, if you will. I love these games. I've played these games, but when I do these lore segments, I like to make sure that I'm correct and brush up on things. The Fallout Tactics, when I'm looking at Colorado, behind the scenes, Fallout Tactics, Colorado plays a significant role in the game, as the supercomputer known as the Calculator is located in Vault Zero, based out of Cheyenne Mountain, and is the ultimate opponent in the game, with several Coloradan locations appearing in the game. Some of those locations are Buena Vista, Colorado Springs, Cheyenne Mountain, and Vault Zero. You can't tell me it's not going here. You can't. I refuse to believe it. Also, in Van Buren, it showed up. Van Buren being the canceled version of Fallout 3. Colorado, Denver was a scientific center, especially Boulder. It's where there was a huge outbreak of the new plague. I don't talk about Van Buren a lot because it's not canon. I don't think there won't be a time where stuff from Van Buren becomes canon, or like aspects of what Van Buren was supposed to be become canon events in game. Right here it says the city of Colorado Springs was also the site of a major breakout of the new plague, and there was numerous robot production factories around the city. Colorado was a big place, especially southern Colorado, if I'm correct, because of the altitude, because of the dry air. It was a huge place for tuberculosis patients to come and get better. So your favorite cowboy could have come to a place like Colorado to get better. And it was just kind of like you sat in the sun in big sunrooms. This is the sunniest place I've ever been, and I'm also a mile and change above sea level. And then the plans were for a Fallout 4, if it were to still be made by Black Isle and they were to have gone through the Van Buren route, would to be Caesar. You would see a little bit in 3, and then Caesar's Legion would have been the big bad for Fallout 4. Kind of crazy to think how New Vegas is a game that was made after a new company bought it. They made Caesar's Legion the bad guy, and now Caesar's Legion is a faction in the show. And how it blew up and almost didn't exist, almost didn't even have a chance, and now it's really here. I realize as I record this, there's a high chance that within a year's time of me uploading this lore on Colorado doesn't really matter anymore. Like, it's gonna come out, and we're gonna see more about the show, from the show, about what Colorado is, was, and could be, and this is ultimately nothing. And this is ultimately lacking information. Maybe I'll make an update at some point in time, but I thought, why not see where we're going next? See what's already been established. I'm very excited for Colorado. I've been saying Colorado was going to show up in the show since season 1, the end of it especially. I hope you've enjoyed this. This is the state I live in, colorful Colorado. Go Rockies. I hope you've enjoyed. That's been this week's Lore. Hey, everybody. Welcome to segment 3. Not going to lie to you. It's going to be a quick one. Hope you're well. All of this talk about where the show is going has really got me thinking, and we've done this on the show before. Where do you think the show is where do you think the show could go? We're obviously going to another state. We're obviously going to be moving out of Nevada a little bit, but where do you want to see? I want to see Michigan. I'd like Detroit, especially. I'd like to see Chicago. I'd also like to see Alaska. I'd like to see parts of Canada. We've seen that in the show now, but I want to see post-war, what's been going on. I want to know if the aliens destroying that piece of Canada is actually a canon piece of lore in the series, or just a fun option that's like, ooh, that's wacky, that you can do. I want to see outside of the US, obviously. I'd like to see where Raul is from, the parts of Mexico Raul is from. I'd like to see something like London, but I don't think Bethesda will because of the mod Fallout London, which I don't consider to be its own game or anything, but some people do. I keep getting clickbait articles that's like, Fallout's new game is coming out this week and it's made by a small team. And you click on it and it's not a Fallout game, it's a mod. And those are two very different things. But I'd like to see obviously New Orleans, Louisiana has been teased forever. But that's what I like about this series is I feel like we're getting places and cities and states that you normally don't get to see in media. How often do you get to see Boston? How often do you get to see DC? I can't think of a single game in DC other than Fallout 3. Maybe like Homefront, if that takes place, or I think that might take place in Philadelphia. DC, Boston. I can't think of a game in Boston. Vegas? No, there's probably a bunch of games in Vegas. There's probably, if you consider like casino games, and if you consider San Andreas has that one part that is kind of Vegas-y, sure. But Utah? You get to like Honest Hearts is in Utah? California? I mean, we get games in California, but I don't know. To me, California doesn't seem like... The only game I could think of off the top of my head right now is the one Watch Dogs that is in San Francisco. Real crime streets of LA. That's it. That's all I could think of. So I want to see more places. It'd be cool to see Kansas. A lot of NORAD is here in Colorado. And if the nukes drop, I'm evaporated. I am a pile of dust and ash, and I might glow a little bit under a black light. Kansas has a lot of missiles in it. I'd like to see how these things were affected, how hard they were hit. Texas. In Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, the PS2 top-down game, I think it was also on Xbox, there's a city in Texas that you get to go to that I think is supposed to be Los Alamos, but it's just called the City of Los. So the City of which I know I've talked about before. Let me know what you're thinking, because I really want to see how industrious of a city like Detroit was and how they were building the Corvegas and they were building all of the automobiles and the labor unions were fighting for people's rights and how they were trying to strike against the companies and how they weren't being paid and how you probably had these car companies making planes and vertibirds and bombers, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they were just making bombs in the Chrysler buildings just to try to save money, to try to make money, because everybody's about the green when it comes to the end of the world. These are stories that I feel like should and need to be told. Be it the show, I just do a comic book. I wish Fallout would do a comic book. That's what I could write. That's what I could write. I could write an episode of the show. I could probably write a couple quest lines. I could write a comic book. You give me free reign, I'm writing a comic book. Give me free reign in like a month to write a Bible. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially if I can play with the Enclave a little bit, because that's like where I've heard there's an Enclave stronghold is in Michigan. I don't know how true that is, but I remember reading that on the wiki back in the day. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the show. My name has been Vince. This has been Atomic Radio Hour, episode 363. Thank you for joining me. I think this comes out on either Valentine's Day or the day after Valentine's Day. Call somebody and tell them that you love them. Platonic, romantic, work, a dog. I don't know what you're down with. I'm not implying that you like sleep with your dog. Maybe you do, in bed, not like sexually. I'm gonna go. I've put my foot in my mouth once again. Thank you to the Patreon. Shout out to you guys. Redbubble, check it out. What else is there? My Twitter, show's Twitter, Kyle's Twitter, Redbubble, Patreon, my Twitter, shows. The intro music is by the one and only how did I forget this? The intro music is by the one and only Shane Ivers. It's called Feather Duster. Check it out on silvermansounds.com/free music for all of his heaters. But the song you're currently hearing is called Feather Duster. I love you. Be good to one another. I'll see you next week. We'll see what else we have to talk about. I love you. And I'll see you. Bye.
Atomic Radio Hour Podcast. A Ghoulman Entertainment production.